Hardlight is an exotic energy auto rifle available from engrams in Destiny 2. The first perk is Volatile Light. Rounds fired from this weapon have no damage falloff, overpenetrate targets, and ricochet off hard surfaces. The second perk gives you the ability to swap the weapon to any energy type via selecting the talents on the gun. So yes, this is another one of the weapons carried over from Destiny 1. The only real change to the weapon is its ability to change elements the way you would select sights on a gun. Sadly, since that's the only change to the weapon, you can already tell by now that yes, the unreasonable screen shake is still there in its unbridled fury. While Hardlight boasts a massive stability stat, that's never really meant anything. The screen shake is part of the weapon's recoil stat, and there really isn't anything that you can do to get rid of it or modify it. This leads to the weapon just never quite being as good as it could be, just like Destiny 1. The ability to ricochet rounds is cute, but the screen shake makes that even more difficult to predict, ultimately making the ability nothing more than a parlor trick. The rounds not having fall-off damage again is going to be great since you can deal max damage at all distances. The limiting factor to that is, again, the screen shake, since you just can't control the recoil well enough to take advantage of that past normal auto rifle range anyway. One could easily argue that a regular auto rifle will do more reliable damage even with fall-off damage factored in, since it's just easier to land your shots when your screen isn't moving around so much. The one thing that really isn't affected by this is the over-penetrating rounds. That's just a pretty situational perk since it requires enemies to be in single file or just at awkward angles to get hit by the ricochet rounds that pass through targets. Hardlight's ability to perform in PvE is surprisingly not hindered too much by the screen shake. Targets there are generally larger and easier to hit due to aim assist, so it doesn't really matter in normal auto rifle ranges. I ended up only using it as a shield breaker type weapon or something to swap to get some quick damage in if my primary ran out of ammo. If you have the ability to know what types of shields you will be facing beforehand, then you can swap to whatever element your loadout needs to deal with it. This is a nice feature if you don't really have any exotic taking up somewhere else in your loadout. So Hardlight can play that jack of all trades role. In areas like the Nightfall with the Prism modifier, you can just swap your weapon when the damage types change and always be available to deal maximum damage. That is the activity where the gun truly gets to shine, as long as you aren't doing the prestige mode. If you're in an activity where loadouts are locked, then you can't actually inspect the weapon and change the element, since that counts as part of your loadout. The exotic PlayStation sniper Borealis doesn't have this problem since you can swap elements by holding down the reload button. That'd be really cool if Hardlight could adopt that method, since it would make it more viable for an on-the-fly element changing rather than having to load up your menu and select things manually. I want to point out that while this perk is unique on one weapon, it isn't unheard of on other weapons. Let me explain. The mod system allows you to swap energy type on basically any energy weapon. The only difference between Hardlight and a legendary energy weapon is that Hardlight does it for free, and legendary weapons have to spend a resource and glimmer. If you play the game enough, you probably have a few of your favorite energy weapon in varying energies already, or you have enough mods stored up that swapping them doesn't really matter. So Hardlight's ability, while convenient, isn't that amazing once you play the game a bit. The 49 round magazine is the other thing that I actually really like about Hardlight. You can fire it for a pretty long time, allowing you to clean up any extra adds left over after popping an enemy's shield. Also, it just allows you to funnel damage if you're feeling extra lazy and don't want to swap weapons. In PvP, I cannot recommend that you use this. The novelty of ricochet rounds and laser beams everywhere is exactly as it was in Destiny 1. It's cute, it's a novelty, and you can try to damage someone with it, but it gets really old real quick once you realize you're just giving away your position and people can shrug off the damage and just kill you with a significantly better weapon. The screen shake is so frustrating to deal with. Even at optimal auto rifle range, you are just going to get outclassed by other auto rifles that don't have to deal with this. I thought maybe the screen shake would be good for combating people that use high caliber rounds on their weapons, since my screen was already shaking so much. It couldn't possibly get any worse, right? Right? No, you still lose to all popular weapons with high caliber rounds. The only redeeming qualities to this gun in PvP are the high magazine size and handling speed. The high magazine size allows you to miss a few more shots than normal, and trust me, you will, so you can keep suppressive fire up in hallways if you want. The handling speed also allows for quick swaps to the weapon if you need to finish someone off or you get caught on a reload on your primary. These, however, do not make up for the screen shake. It is really disappointing that the heavy screen shake of Hardlight returned in Destiny 2. In a sequel with so many improvements on its past, you would have thought that they would have fixed the one thing wrong with the gun when deciding to point it over. Maybe the designers think it needs the heavy screen shake to counteract the no damage drop-off. In my opinion, I would have rather had a more stable weapon than we have now and just not have that damage fall-off perk. At least in Destiny 1, you could completely max out the stability bar in a vain attempt to reduce this screen shake. Since we don't have that ability anymore, we're just stuck with this violent screen shake and a weapon that sadly cannot reach its full potential. Quirks and personalities on weapons is fine, as long as it's done in a manner that isn't so intrusive to the play experience. Hardlight has failed to deliver for 3 years and will continue to do so in Destiny 2 as long as this one issue isn't addressed. I hope you found the information here helpful. If you did, a positive rating would be appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.